Good morning, boys. Mr. Pope here. Right, well, here we are back in lockdown. You should have by now clicked on the Due Work tab on the right-hand side of the screen and done the 10 starter questions there. I look forward to your submissions by the end of today. Okay, I'd just like to talk through a little about market failure, a new topic. Those of you in my Option 1 class, you would have heard a lot of this already yesterday, but please listen again anyway. And for Option 3, this will be all new to you boys. So what is market failure? Basically, market failure is any situation in which the free market fails to supply goods or services in the quantities or at the prices that the market wants or needs. There are various different categories of market failure, different ways that the market can fail, and we'll talk through some of those in this little screencast. So boys, you need to get down the notes and do the exercises up to slide 9. One of the first things we need to understand within market failure is the idea of externalities. This is the idea that when something is produced and consumed, sometimes the wider society or community or the people around the producer or the consumer are affected in some way. Now that could be that they are affected in a good way or perhaps more commonly in a negative way. Now because the market price doesn't take into account the external effects, in other words, the way the society and the people around are affected, then the price doesn't reflect the true value of that good or service that's being produced. Let's just take a quick look at an example. If we look at dairy farming, the farmer is the producer and the milk consumer, they consume the milk. But in the process of making that milk, the farmer may cause some pollution to his local environment. Now in that case, the local community or people who normally use the river or the waterway, they suffer a cost. That cost is that they no longer have clean water to use. But neither the farmer nor the consumer of the milk pay for that damage. The community does. Another category of market failure is to do with what we call merit and demerit goods. Now, demerit goods like alcohol, cigarettes, cannabis, and so on are goods which essentially are bad for us or cause some harm to society. So with alcohol, the producer pays to produce the goods, the consumer pays so that they can consume the goods and enjoy consuming them. But unfortunately, people who consume alcohol sometimes then go and do silly things like drink driving. And they may then cause accidents which negatively affect other people. That's an example of a negative externality. People who are not directly involved in the production or consumption of the good suffer some harm. Cigarette smokers pump out smoke into the air and the people around them have to breathe that dirty smoke. So they suffer the harm of having to breathe that smoke. That's another negative externality. Education, on the other hand, has a positive externality. You students, you are consuming education. Us teachers and schools, we are producing or supplying education. But having an educated population means that we have a more efficient workforce. We have fewer problems with poverty and crime and so on. So the society as a whole benefits from education. Notes here on this slide, boys, about demerit and merit goods, which cause either positive or negative externalities. I'd like you to have a go at answering these two questions here. What externalities, side effects, if you want to think of them that way, are there associated with gyms, going to gyms and exercising, and with the Speedway at Western Springs? Speedway's been happening at Western Springs for years, and lots of people enjoy that, but other people not so much. Some of you will be able to answer that one from your general knowledge, otherwise you might need to do a quick bit of research. And then the bigger case study, which I'd like you to have a think about, is this one here about Eden Park, just around the corner from Auckland Grammar School, the big rugby and cricket stadium. Now, for a long time, Eden Park has wanted to hold concerts at Eden Park as a way to increase their revenue. And lots of people support that idea because they think it would be good for the city to have more concerts. It would bring in jobs and create a more vibrant Auckland, a more vibrant city. Other people don't want it to happen because if you have a read through over here, there are lots of negative externalities that they think would happen if concerts were allowed. Now, just a couple of weeks back, a decision was made by the council to allow Eden Park to have 6 concerts a year. So they've basically decided that the positives, the positive side effects, outweigh the negative side effects in allowing that to happen. So your task, if you want to just read through here, and if you can click on these articles for a bit more information, and then to write a good paragraph explaining the externalities involved with having concerts at Eden Park. Okay, boys, good luck with that. Any questions, flick them through to me on email and we'll help you out. Thanks, boys. See you tomorrow.